Hello, love to you and your loved ones and all that you love. So, I wanted to make an intro to my video series. This is after the fact that I already made the video series, but the video series deals with, posture, um, and certain different approaches for a beginner, sitting in a chair first, whatnot, and other little angles. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things first mentally for beginners, especially in this modern world. So, number one, I might address some of this in the video later, if so, excuse me, but hey, repetition is good sometimes. So, mindfulness and silence. So, live in silence as much as possible, live without stimulation as much as possible, in every way. Loud places, just as much as possible. No TV, no videos, no music, no loud places. No bright lights, no all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying, like, if you can watch a silent video, but there's still all these lights and stimulation going on. So that's the first thing. We're just overstimulated in so many ways. Um, and videos, movies, often sexual content, often it's shocking to the system. Um, puts you in a higher, it puts you in a sympathetic nervous system. And so that has its purpose, but it's not good for all the time, and especially not good for meditating and trying to calm down. So be in silence. Number two, mindfulness. Mindfulness is just being aware, be in the present moment, be aware of anything and everything. And for instance, you could be wiping your dishes. I probably think I talked about this in the video, but in the video series, but wash your dish and you're just focusing on this one white dish with gold trim, and then you move on, and then you're now focusing on the blue dish. And you just do that in the present moment with every little thing you do. Okay? Now, other types of meditation, because meditating for beginners mentally is very difficult, usually. So you could do, for instance, walking meditation. You just walk really slowly, take like a few, like, I don't know, 10, 15 steps, turn around, come back, and just keep going back and forth. And you're mainly focusing on your feet and just think, okay, I'm lifting my foot, I'm taking a step forward, my feet's going on the ground, I'm lifting my left foot, my legs are going forward, I feel and then you're feeling everything with your foot. You feel the ground when you're touching it, and you're just in the present moment. That's all it is. I think that's really good for beginners and good for advanced people too, because you're switching back and forth to these two different types of meditation. That's what Thich Nhat Hanh and all kind of people do. You go back and forth. Okay. Now, as far as actual meditation, it's good for beginners to start with mantra meditation, and in the whole Vajrayana Tibetan Buddhism thing, um, it's also called mantrayana because that's how important mantras are. Mantras are magical words. Sanskrit is very magical. I've even heard a whistleblower say that Sanskrit is definitely not a non-terrestrial language, and whether you believe that or not, Sanskrit is a magical language. It's a living language. Those old ancient languages are much more alive and magical than the modern languages, including Hindi. So you say these mantras. For instance, the most popular one in Tibet is Avalokiteshvara's mantra, the Buddha of compassion, because compassion is so important, and the world, of course, needs compassion. So there's nothing bad about putting out more compassion in general. So that would be, and that's just the most popular and a great one, of course. So that one would be in ancient Sanskrit, would be Om Mani Padme Hum. Hum with an M, and Padme, Padme. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now, Tibetan, sure, it's not the original Sanskrit, but Tibetan hasn't been empowered too because of all of the masters, Tibetan masters that have been using that, and so they've empowered the language and it's very similar in a way, I think, um, in the way the languages are constructed. But anyways, the masters have empowered the language. So if you want to do it that way, it's Om Mani Padme Hung. So Om Om Padme Pemme, perhaps. Um, sorry, I didn't do the Mani. Om Mani Mani Padme Pemme Hung Hung. Okay. Of course, a great word to start, is very important in Hinduism, very important in Tibet too, is Om. So you could just sit there and just recite Om. 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 I would do it longer, but it's Om. I exaggerated a little bit. And you can do that out loud at first, and then you can also just do it in your mind eventually. And then you could go to the Om Mani Padme Hum um, or Om Mani Padme Hum. And there's many other mantras, but I'm not going to get into it. You can research that and do whichever mantra you want, and just do the mantra in your mind. You could do them out loud, or you can do it in your mind. Ultimately, you want to do them in your mind, though, in general. So that's a great way for our noisy minds to relax and focus on the mantra and just repeat the mantra and sit there. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Mahamudra. And according to Dr. Nida, he distilled Mahamudra because Mahamudra is it's a very mystical topic, and people talk about it and Dzogchen and Mahamudra, and it's just, it's the last stage, and what does it mean? And Dr. Nida just said all it really means, if you distill it, is just instead of, in Tibetan Buddhism, it's great because instead of trying to stop things like don't have sex, don't drink, don't be angry, and just trying to cut them off and suppress them, they're using these things to work toward positive goals. So instead of trying to suppress your thoughts in meditation, which is obviously an issue, set them free and just have as many thoughts as possible and just sit there and have many thoughts. It's kind of like a kid. You can try to say, stop playing and calm down and sit there quietly. You think that's going to work? The kid's going to probably want to play more and get more loud, just like our mind would do. So instead, it's kind of like a reverse psychology. You tell the kid, you let the kid run wild and just go crazy, kid. And then the kid's going to run around, have a crazy time, do cartwheels. And then later on, it's going to be tired, and then it's going to do what you want it to by you saying, go crazy and do whatever you want. You see? So that's how that works. Um, and so I really like that approach because it's realistic, especially nowadays. The whole Theravada path, the Sutra path, is important to renunciate not just sex, but it's about renunciating lust, and renunciating desires in general, renunciating drinking because you can become an addiction, but definitely Tibetan Buddhism in general is much more practical in this world because why stop? Okay, for instance, anger. You can use anger too. Instead of, I need to stop being angry and trying to cut it off and just sit there and I'm not going to be angry. What's that's going to do? It's going to make you explode and become more angry. It's called repression. You could use guru yoga and um, visualize yourself as Hayagriva, and he's a wrathful kind of type of a deity. By the way, it's not a bad or angry energy, it's compassion, but like a powerful compassion, and then that will dissipate your anger, and you can use that for positive means, inspiring you to do more in life and whatnot. So, this isn't directly connected to meditation, but I'm just talking about how that the whole approach. Let's not resist and try to push down who we are. Let's be natural and use these things to go where we want, instead of just saying, I need to stop. Anything could be used. If you're a worrier, that could be if you're really good at worrying, you can use that, and or at least use that reverse psychology and set it free. Anyways, that's all. So just use these techniques in the beginning for your mental approaches to meditation, and then watch my video for more of the physical aspect in general. All right, thanks, bye.